March 2026, the Santiago Bernabeu is shaking. On the touchline, Pep Guardiola stands frozen, his hands on his head, watching his billion-dollar machine crumble into dust. For a decade, we were told this man was untouchable. We were told his system was the final evolution of football. He built monsters like Lionel Messi. He made a cyborg named Erling Haaland. But tonight, he looks like a man who has finally run out of magic. Across the pitch stands a man who wasn't supposed to be here, Alvaro Arbeloa, a coach with zero first team experience until 2 months ago, a man leading a Real Madrid squad that is more than just a football team, missing Mbappe, missing Bellingham, and missing their entire core. When everyone expected Real Madrid dead, magic happened. This isn't just one bad result, this is end of the road. From the secret tactical shift that paralyzed Manchester City to the long-standing grudge between Arbeloa and Pep, we are uncovering the truth. The era of Pep is finished, and the Arbeloa has taken the throne. This is how Real Madrid destroyed one of the greatest teams in the world. To understand what happened at the Bernabeu, we have to first respect that what Pep Guardiola has been chasing. For 20 years, Pep hasn't just been a coach, he has been an architect. He is the man who looked at a young Lionel Messi and saw the false line that would redefine the sport. He is the man who took the chaotic Manchester City and turned it into a repetitive winning machine. His achievements are undeniable. He gave us the greatest Barcelona side in history. He dominated Germany. He won 4 consecutive Premier Leagues, a feat never before seen in English Premier history.
And Aguero had a hit and scored gloriously!
He even found a way to make Erling Haaland a player who barely touches the ball, the most feared striker on the planet. But every empire has a downfall. In 2026, his plans are starting to glitch. The repetitive sideways passing, the obsession with control, and the refusal to adopt have turned City from a monster into a predictable giant. And there is no place in the world that punishes predictability more than the Bernabeu. The fall of the Manchester City is so shocking. We have to go by 2023, the year of the treble. That was the year Pep Guardiola finally achieved his dream. It was the peak of his robotic football. City didn't just win, they dismantled teams with a terrifying cold efficiency. They had a prime Gundogan, a Rodri who functioned as a human shield, and Haaland who broke every record in English history. In that season, Pep's system was perfect circle. Every player was specialized tool designed to perform one specific task. It was beautiful, but it was also the beginning of the end. When you have achieved perfection in a system, you stop innovating. You start trying to preserve. Since that treble win, Pep has become obsessed with overprotecting his players from counterattacks. He started buying safe players, players who prioritize keeping the ball over taking risks. He traded the chaos of Kevin De Bruyne for the control of 1,000 passes. The treble wasn't just a trophy, it was a trap. It convinced Pep that he never needed to change again.
3 central defender closes, the 2 holding midfielder related move across the pocket.
In 2026, Real Madrid was in crisis. Xabi Alonso era had ended in tactical confusion. The club was trailing Barcelona and Champions League felt like a distant dream. Florentino Perez did something that shocked the world. He promoted Arbeloa from youth ranks. The media laughed, they called him the PE teacher. He was the man who didn't have the talent of Cristiano or the grace of Zidane, but he had a tactical brain that was forged in the fires of the greatest rivalries in history. He was the only defender who truly knew how to get under Pep Guardiola's skin during the legendary El Clasico wars. Arbeloa didn't try to outpass Pep. He didn't try to play the beautiful football. He reverted Madrid to its purest form, resilience. While Pep spent $400 million on defenders who can pass like midfielders, Arbeloa spent 2 months teaching his players how to suffer. He brought the Spartan mentality from the academy to the first team. He told his players they want the ball, let them have it, we want the goal. When the lineups were announced for the round of 16, the world felt sorry for Madrid. Kylian Mbappe out, Jude Bellingham out, Rodrigo injured. Arbeloa was forced to start the midfield of the veterans and kids, while Pep had a fully fit Haaland, Foden and Rodri. On a paper, it was already 5-0 win for City. But what followed was a tactical masterclass. Arbeloa implemented a poison box defense. He allowed City to play their 1000 passes, but he funneled every single one of them into dead zones. He used Federico Valverde, a player he calls Juanito of the 21st century. For 90 minutes, the most dangerous striker in the world was a spectator in his own game. The result, a 3-0 demolition. Not through luck, but through tactical superiority. Arbeloa didn't just defend. He exploited Pep's high line with a ruthlessness we haven't seen since the days of prime Mourinho. Every time City lost the ball, Madrid didn't just counter, they ran like a lightning bolt. Pep defenders looked like statues as Vinicius Jr and the Madrid youngsters tore them apart. But how did Madrid change so fast? To understand the Arbeloa effect, you have to look at the players who suffered Xabi Alonso era. Under Xabi, Real Madrid was a tactical laboratory. It was about the positional play and symmetry. It was elegant, but it lacked the street fighter edge that defines the Bernabeu. Look at Vinicius Jr. Under Xabi, Vini was often restricted to a specific area to maintain the team's shape. But Arbeloa has unshackled him. He told Vini, "I want you to be a storm." He is now a psychological weapon. He plays with a Spartan intensity, constantly pressing, constantly provoking, and taking risks that Pep Guardiola player would be benched for. Even Federico Valverde has transformed. Under previous managers, he was a workhorse. Under Arbeloa, he is the general. Arbeloa has given him the freedom to abandon his position to hunt the ball. This is the difference. Xabi Alonso gave these players a map, but Alvaro Arbeloa gave them a sword. They are playing with a raw emotional freedom that makes Pep calculated players look like they are playing in a slow motion. Perhaps the most Real Madrid thing about this era is Arbeloa's refusal to look at the transfer market. While Pep screams for another $100 million, Arbeloa has turned his back on the checkbook and looked toward the La Fabrica, Real Madrid Academy. Arbeloa knows something that the rest of the world forgot. A kid who has been at the Madrid since he was 8 years old will run through the brick wall for the badge in a way superstar never will. In the win against City, it wasn't just the veteran who stood tall, it was the Arbeloa kids. He isn't afraid to put a 18-year-old centre back into the fire of Champions League knockout games because he trained them himself. He has brought the cast back to Madrid. He believes in the academy bloodline. He has created a bridge between the youth and the first team that hasn't existed since the days of Vicente de Bosque. While Pep City feels like corporate franchise, where players are bought and sold like stocks, Arbeloa's Madrid feels like a family business. When a young academy player makes a tackle at the Bernabeu, the stadium feels it differently. That energy is what paralyzed City. You can't simulate that in training session, and you certainly can't buy it for $100 million. There is a deeper layer to this story. Arbeloa and Pep have a history that goes back to the 2011 era. They represent two completely different philosophies of football. Pep believes in the system and Arbeloa believes in the man. In his post-match conference, Arbeloa was humble. He said, "I cannot compare myself to Pep." But his smile told a different story. By beating City 3-0 with the B team, he proved that Pep's philosophy has a fatal flaw. It cannot handle pure passion mixed with a tactical discipline. Pep teams are built to play in laboratories, and Arbeloa Madrid is built to play in war zone. And when the Champions League knockout stages begin, the pitch always becomes the war zone.
So Valverde scoring a hat-trick. Anyone that said that Valverde was going to score a hat-trick is a liar. And I don't know what they put in that shirt. I don't know what they put in that jersey. But maybe if I put it on, it might help me to get my hair back. They put some.
Arbeloa's success with the youth teams winning the trebles and league titles wasn't a fluke. He has a way of making players believe they are invincible. He has taken a broken Real Madrid and made them the most dangerous team in the Europe again. This brings us to the uncomfortable truth that Manchester City fans don't want to hear. Pep Guardiola has reached the end of the circle. When you have won everything, when you have refined your system to the point of perfection, there is nowhere left to go but down. His obsession with control is now destroying the very team he built. In the Bernabeu, we saw the City team that looked bored. They looked like they were following the script rather than playing a game. They have lost the hunger that Arbeloa has injected into the Madrid. Haaland is struggling because the system has become too rigid. Rodri is aging and the replacements are Pep clones rather than the game changers. The era of Manchester City dominance was built on being 3 steps ahead of everyone else. But in 2026, the world has caught up. Coaches like Arbeloa have found the cheat code to Pep's system. They have realized that if you take away the space and ignore the possession stats, the genius has no plan B. As we look towards the second leg at Etihad, the momentum has shifted. For the first time in decades, Pep Guardiola looks confused. He is facing a man he represents everything he hates about football: pragmatism, defensive solidity, and the Real Madrid DNA that refuses to die. Alvaro Arbeloa is the future, not because he is a tactical innovator, but because he is the leader of men. He has proven that you don't need $1 billion budget or a perfect squad to destroy a dynasty. You just need a plan, a group of players who will die for the badge, and the courage to look the genius in the eye and tell him, your time is up. The Spartan has arrived and the king is about to lose his crown. And yeah, I think you should subscribe to Football Marvels, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching and supporting.